Well, John, firstly, we haven't spoken since our first January arrival came through the door. Rob Atkinson, how pleased are you to get him in?
Yeah, thrilled. Thrilled that we could get something done so early, and a player of such high potential who's played so many games at the Championship. And I know he's been out for a long time, but I think that's the reason that we're able to get a player as good as Rob. I know a lot about him, having played with him for a season and a half. I thought he was excellent when I did play with him, and was very, very fortunate to see that firsthand. And he went on to do some really, really good things at Bristol City. So really unfortunate over the past couple of years with his injuries, but hopefully we're out the other end of that. And we saw a lot of progress, I think, in terms of the first minutes on the pitch for 2 years the other night against Sunderland, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot more of him.
A real long journey home on Sunday, and the players were back in for the first time today. How have they sort of returned, in what shape?
Yeah, we had a bit of a natural break because of the amount of time we've been in over the Christmas period, and it was good to get the players away and get them recovered. The most important thing is that physical recovery. We came back in and we went over the Sunderland game. I think there were quite a few things that we could do a lot better, and the only disappointing thing I think was the fact that there wasn't a huge amount in the game, but we ended up obviously coming away with nothing at one of our better away performances. So plenty to improve upon, I think, and some really good opportunities coming up this weekend, and obviously beyond that with the Blackburn game.
Yeah, great opportunity, and must be quite a nice sort of break from league action as we go to Wycombe in the FA Cup. Yeah,
it's exciting. The FA Cup's always exciting, and to be into the third round by virtue of the fact that we're in the Championship, I think takes that pressure off a couple of the games earlier in the season. So we've got a really decent tie. I think it is nice to have a distraction from the league and a competition that is still really exciting.
And a chance for you to perhaps make some changes as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure, not sure to what extent that we're going to make those changes, but I think it's only fair to the travelling fans and the people paying their money that they know that it's not going to necessarily be the full strength side that we've seen over the past few weeks. And I think that's important to let everyone know, particularly with the amount of away support that we do get. But I think we're still looking to be incredibly competitive in the game. We've got plenty of players that have been knocking on the door, champing at the bit to try and get some minutes, particularly over the past couple of months where we've had a couple of poor results, but for the most part our form's been really, really good, and we've dragged ourselves out of the hole that we were in late October with some better performances. We put ourselves in a much better league position than we have been previously, so still a load to improve upon, but there's been limited opportunities for certain players, and I think it's a good weekend for lads to really show what they're all about.
The Sunday to Friday turnaround can't have been ideal for you in terms of wanting to prepare for Wycombe, but does it sort of make up for the fact that we've got that long trip to Blackburn on the Wednesday and you've got a couple of extra days to rest and recover? Yeah,
it's an extra day. It's an extra day that it gives us. The January schedule that we've got is a monster of a schedule. No complaints. It's just the way it is, and unfortunately we had those 2 games that were postponed in a week. That's really put the pressure on the fixture schedule from January. So it's just one of those things in football. We're going to have to get on with it. Everybody plays the same amount of games in the league, and we've got a couple more where maybe we had a little bit of rest when we had those games called off. Not necessarily, we didn't necessarily want it because it was on the back of the international break, but we've had a little bit of rest there. Hopefully that'll pay dividends as we go into January. We've just got to play the games and do as best we can.
Wycombe, they've had a great start to season, sitting at the top end of League One. What are you expecting from them?
Well, I don't know what they'll do in terms of changes as well, considering they're doing so well in the league, but absolutely fantastic first half of the season for Wycombe. I don't think expectations would have been that high, and they're competing with some sides at the top end of the league that have just spent absolute fortunes. So I think they're doing really, really well to punch right up at the top of the league. I think 19 games unbeaten at one point. That only came unstuck a couple of weeks ago. Yes, the form recently hasn't been probably as they want it to be, but for the most part this season they've been absolutely outstanding. So I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. Always is when you play Wycombe, whether they're flying or not. We saw that last year in particular, so I think it'll be a really decent FA Cup tie.
And just finally, it is January, so I have to ask you, how are things progressing on the front of bringing players in?
Yeah, progressing well. Obviously nothing through the door this week, but hopefully we'll have at least one in before Blackburn. I think that'll be a really positive step forward. Still looking to work on strengthening the squad. I think that's the most important thing. So I think we really achieved that with bringing Rob in. We're really pleased with that. That's the first building block in January that's going to be really important for us, and we can go from there.